is enough. Okay, so now we have the first big story. This is Nyantakyi, and this is Anas, Aremeyaw Anas, and I've been very worried about the whole Anas situation after I saw him lose a case, the land case, and then I saw him lose the Kennedy Japan one, fundamentally because he won't testify without his mask. And then I saw him lose the land case. I guess that may have also been part of it. In the land case, the judge makes similar disparaging remarks about him and says that he should go and pay 100,000, and then he has lost the case and he has lost the land. And then the people are writing all sorts of things, increasingly deciding that I cannot take off my mask, which is what he should be doing because he wants to protect his image, is what is creating the problem. People are worried around that where in the world is there an investigative journalist who is covering his face and what was all that about, etc. Now, the High Court has ruled. Let me show you first the land case. Involving Anas, Aremeyaw Anas. This is the story. It says, court rules against Anas in land fraud case, slaps him with 100,000 cedi fine. Now, it says land fraud. It's not even good for that kind of word to be used relating to Anas, but here it is. A high court in Accra has fined Anas, Aremeyaw Anas 100,000 cedis for land grabbing, unlawful trespassing, and use of land gas to intimidate the legitimate landowner, one Adom-Otchere, whose ownership Anas disputed as fraudulent. In a case brought before the High Court presided over by Justice Kwame Gyamfi over a 2-acre disputed land at Chado, taken over by Anas, Aremeyaw Anas in 2017, the court found Anas liable for trespassing and illegally building on someone's land. In quote, using police and land guards day and night to brazenly deny plaintiff from the use of land. This is not good at all. This is not good. This is not good at all. And if Anas is suffering these things because he cannot show up in court with his open face, that's a problem that we need to discuss. Because the kind of words and I said that this judge used disparaging remarks against Anas. The first judge said that he was an investigative terrorist because he didn't show up. I'm guessing that here too he didn't show up. And because he can't take off his mask, he doesn't show up. So I'm building you to why now the court is telling him that in Nyantakyi, we agree, you don't have to show up, but Nyantakyi must look at your face. You have to take off that mask for him and his lawyers. If Nyantakyi shows up with 8 lawyers, all the 8 lawyers are going to look at his face. That's 9 people plus the judge, 10 who have seen his face. So, well, okay. See what the judge says. It says, the court found Anas liable for trespassing. Okay, that means he just went on somebody's land. Illegally building on someone's land, that happens all the time to different people. You may not know you are building illegally, but this is the concern. And the court writes that in quote, using police. I am thinking the Inspector General of Police should be interested in this story. When a High Court judge has said that an ordinary citizen, as it were, is using police to foster his, to brazenly deny somebody of land, using police. I don't know whether the IGP has looked at this and he has seen it, and that he needs to find out and come and tell us, the people in Ghana, that he has read the judge's report, he has looked at the situation and no police were used, and then we can be satisfied and go to bed. But if he keeps silent, if the police hierarchy is silent about this, that is worrying. Because the judge says the journalist has used police. As for land guards, they are there. You can have some, I can have some. I can be your land guard, you can be my land guard. It's okay, that's a joke anyway. But land guard is not complicated. But the police, the regular police maintained by the taxpayer, are also applied by an ordinary citizen to go to Chado and protect his land and brazenly take it from the plaintiff. These are not our words. These are the words of a High Court judge. A judge of the Superior Court of Judicature, the Inspector General of Police has not seen this. We will keep reminding the police that they have to come and explain this matter. How is it true? How did the judge even come to that conclusion? Who presented that evidence? How was it assessed? How do we know? And the judge writes this almost a week, and the police have said nothing about it. I reckon any police anywhere in the world would have quickly responded. This is a serious matter. So we must hear something from the police. I'm guessing that perhaps they're investigating. That's my guess, because we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I'm guessing that they're investigating, but I hope it doesn't take that long. All right. The case continues. In his defense, Anas told the court the said Adom-Otchere's claim of ownership of the land was tainted by fraud. Okay. The courts, after examination of all the facts, concluded that the law will not permit anyone to allege fraud without proving same beyond reasonable doubt. That is the problem of Anas. That's the problem. Because he has to come and go through the process of the evidence to establish the matter that he's saying. And because he's pleading a criminal offense, he's required to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. But the guy is not going to show up in the court because he doesn't want you to see his face. And if he's not going to show up in the court, then the court is going to rule against him. And that's why the court is saying that the law will not permit anyone to allege fraud without proving it. So they are telling us that the allegation of fraud that you rendered in your documents against the guy you are fighting over the land with, that allegation of fraud will not be taken by the court hook, line, and sinker. It has to be proved. And because you have alleged something that's criminal, your standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt. But he won't show up, so he's not there, so the court continues. Here's the story. One would also not be permitted, the judge says, to win the sympathy of the court by alleging fraud against his adversary without proving same beyond reasonable doubt. The landowner, the said Adom-Otchere, said the disputed parcel of land is covered by the land title certificate number so-and-so. Adom-Otchere informed the court his sublessor has also always been in effective possession of the land and had registered it in 2007 under the land title certificate number GA2639393. The sublessor also acquired the land with title certificate number so-and-so with photocopies of the said land title so-and-so, the land title certificate number all presented in the court. Adom-Otchere said Aremeyaw Anas' claim of customary grant of the land to him by a certain Ga family was merely a ploy to deceive the court. The plaintiff told the court that Anas showed up one day and caused a signpost to be erected on the land with the inscription, Tiger Eye Property. It's 1 minute to 10 o'clock. 1 minute to 10 o'clock. Okay, I go on. Keep off, that was the last expression in the signpost. And also employ the services of land guards to purportedly provide security for his unlawful construction works. Court ruling. The court ordered Aremeyaw Anas to vacate the disputed land and to pay 60,000 cedis in general damages and 40,000 cedis in legal costs to Adom-Otchere, who adduced evidence to prove that he acquired the land legally and was about to build when Aremeyaw Anas showed up. The court said it was perpetually restraining Aremeyaw Anas, his servants, agents, assigns, workmen, and all those claiming through him from entering, carrying out any construction works or interfering with all that piece or parcel of land in any manner whatsoever or disturbing the plaintiff's peaceful occupation and possession of same. Tiger IPI property controversy in courts. Aremeyaw Anas filed a motion to oppose the inclusion of Tiger IPI in the suit as it was not an owner of the property, but the plaintiff resisted and said Tiger IPI should be in the suit. Adom-Otchere told the court that when Anas seized the land in dispute, Anas caused to be erected a signpost with the property of Tiger IPI keep off. According to Adom-Otchere, that is why he added a company to the court case, because the signpost said his land was being claimed by Tiger IPI. The court removed Tiger IPI from the suit, while the second defendant sued with Anas failed to enter appearance or show up. The second defendant, Holy Kwe, is the person Anas claimed to have bought the land from. Oh, and Holy Kwe, who Anas claimed to have bought the land from, refused to show up in the court. So it's not just Anas who didn't show up. Kwe also didn't show up. From the evidence, the plaintiff was in possession of the land until the first defendant brazenly entered same and started construction day and night with the help of police and land guards. The construction he erected on the land is clearly unauthorized. Any prudent purchaser is required to do due diligence before acquisition. But in the case of Anas, the first defendant, from the evidence, did nothing like that. He entered the land and erected a signpost, Tiger IPI, keep off. When an application was brought to join Tiger IPI to this suit, he resisted, claiming the said entity has no interest in the land. His claim to the disputed land has no basis in law, and in fact, oh, okay, I get it, but the Anas's lawyer should have sorted it out. If you know that you had erected a signpost and you've written Tiger IPI, and the other guy, the plaintiff, goes to court and says, I'm suing Anas because I hear he comes there, and Tiger IPI. And then Anas comes and says, take Tiger IPI out. And they say, why? I say, Tiger IPI has no interest. So why did you put a signpost that is Tiger IPI property? I mean, his lawyer should have reconciled that very quickly. That, hey, we can't say that because it will go against us. I don't know anything, but I mean, I'm not sure why this should happen. Okay, let's go on. Finishing soon. Trespass is an injury against possession. Hence, the first defendant is liable. In trespass, damages are large, and there will be the need to award damages to commensurate with the circumstances of this case. This is the second time in a matter of weeks in which the court has found the investigative journalist liable for one wrong or the other after another court ruled in favor of Kennedy Japan against the journalist. And this is from My News Ghana. Yeah, that's the worrying part. The second time a court has found against Anas Aremeyaw Anas.